Welcome back to building a house every day in Minecraft for 30 days. Today we're on day 17. If you haven't, go back and watch day 16 because that was a cool medieval build. And let's get into today's build. So I will show you the reference right here. And this is pretty much a block for block build that I'm doing, or for the most part. It does have some inspiration because it is hard to make a building in Minecraft block for block, but you can do your best, and that is what I'm doing in this video. I think the hardest part in this build is the actual higher part of this roof on this second area that I will show a little bit later on once we get to it. So right now we're building the first little entrance doorway into this area. I imagine this guy is a kind of a dwarf or maybe a Viking because he has a little smeltery on the outside, but we build on that later. Right now we built the entrance and we're working on the main part of the foundation of this person's house, and I'm just trying to get all the texturing right and figuring out how I want to texture the build. I'll show you in the reference right now that there's these little stones, kind of stone brick like, and I wanted to do that but not necessarily use stone or stone brick to do that because I wanted to actually break up that texture. Now we're getting to that hard part with the roof. Now in the roof of the reference I'll show you here that it's really complicated because it goes at an actual slant if you look. So that is the hard part about this little roof. It's at a slant at the bottom part of the foundation of this building, and then it straightens out as it goes higher. And then you have the main roof at top that is kind of curved, which is interesting. So that is what I'm trying to show off in this little build that I'm making with this. Let's say it's a dwarf that lives here. I want to say it's a medieval dwarf that lives in this building. You know, he's a smelter, he makes armor and weapons and tools for people, and we're making his roof, or his main foundation of this top of the building. And just making, well actually, we're not making the roof right now, we're making the walls so we can then make the roof. The other thing I thought about doing is, I thought about what if I add windows, and I couldn't figure out a way to add windows that looked great with this build, honestly, because I don't like my windows really touching other blocks completely. It's hard to explain, but we're now working on we are now on to making this little, I don't even know what you want to call it, canopy? I'm not sure if that's the right word, but we did that with using campfires. And then now we're working on other little parts of the build, little textures here and there for the walls, and actually starting to get to the roof. Now getting the curve on this roof is difficult, and definitely was difficult for me, especially to get something that actually looks good. I go for more of a style roof because in the reference I'll show you right now that it is an A style but curved, like jagged almost. So it's definitely a different kind of build. Right now we're just trying to get the roof looking right and something pleasing to the eye, so I can potentially put this house in a world someday. You know, having these dwarven miners or dwarven smelters making some tools and weapons for people would be really cool. I don't know if you guys think a dwarf would go in here, but maybe. I mean, it's a big house for a dwarf, but there are a lot of big houses for dwarves, I feel like, in the media. Bigger than they need, considering they're a dwarf. So we're working on the other side of the roof and just making sure everything is going together just all right. And eventually you'll see that I'm also adding more wall supports to make it feel like this house has some support, I guess. Some support for this house, so it's not just floating. Because like, you could make a house that's floating in Minecraft, but unless you're making like a sky city, you don't want something to be floating. You want something to feel grounded to reality and grounded to the ground. Grounded, yeah, goodness, grounded to reality. And I'm working on the window and adding it into the side here of the roof and just messing around with the different details. Wanted it to look good. And the thing is I really like symmetry. I don't usually like asymmetry. So what happens is I think expand those windows. I could be wrong on this, on the top part there, where I'm like, that doesn't look right. But adding this chimney definitely helps make it so it's not so off on the symmetry. And just adding a little bit of chimney with some smoke, because that adds a lot, I think. And then we're going to start working on the actual furnace where we smelt all our ores, you know, the iron, copper, gold, nickel, tin, all those types of things. I don't think you smelt tin. I think you smelt copper and something and nickel to make tin. I could be wrong on that. I'm obviously not the dwarf that lives here. So anyways, I'm making his smeltery though, his furnace, and also adding some more smoke to it. I was messing around and experimenting with the dark glass panes to see if those would work, the dark gray glass panes, and they didn't really work, or something I didn't like, but it could have in the right block patterns, like the right block variations. So then I'm working on actually the surrounding area, some exterior designs, this arch entrance that goes into the actual house. I imagine that storage would go here. I'll show you in the reference where I'm actually building and adding in some storage, and then we later on will work on the interior, but I am working on all the exterior stuff right now, making some pathways to make it feel like this has been walked in. You know, lots of people come to get their tools by Dwarf. What should be his name? Dwarvy Jimmy? Dwarf? Dwarf Dwan. Dwarf Dwan. And I don't know, weird name, but Dwarf Dwan. And then we're working on his interior, Dwarf Dwan's interior. And just finishing up those little details, making sure the storage area looks right and feels right. And we do add some lighting on this part of the wall so it doesn't feel so dark in here, because when I was making this, I was like, it's too dark, especially for a storage area. You need some light if you're going to see anything, especially when you're trading at night. Dwarven I don't even know what his name. Darwin Darwin needs light. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.